Chosen one, listen carefully, because this message did not find you by chance, and it is not speaking to who you pretend to be. It is speaking to who you are when no one is watching. Something already shifted, quietly, without ceremony, without warning, while you were exhausted and stretched thin and wondering how much more you could take. You thought you were just surviving another difficult moment, another heavy day, another test of patience, but beneath the surface, something far more serious was taking place. You were being measured not by your words, not by your intentions, not by what you promised you would do when things got easier, but by who you were when things became unbearable. The pressure you felt was not random. The confusion was not meaningless. The isolation was not abandonment. It was a narrowing. A moment where life reduced you to your truest self because there was no energy left to perform, no strength left to impress, no motivation left to calculate the perfect response. And in that stripped-down state, when reaction became instinct and instinct revealed character, you chose integrity. You chose restraint when you could have chosen retaliation. You chose silence when you could have chosen destruction. You chose to walk away when no one would have blamed you for staying. That choice, made in weakness, carried more weight than 1,000 choices made in strength, because power is never entrusted to potential, it is entrusted to proof. You have been walking through unseen battles for a long time now, battles no one applauded, conflicts no one noticed, nights where the questions were louder than the answers and the silence felt personal. You wondered why progress felt delayed, why doors stayed closed even when you did everything right, why it felt like you were being held back while others moved forward. But you were not being delayed, you were being refined. There is a difference. Delay frustrates the ego. Refinement prepares the soul. What you experienced was not the absence of movement, it was the deep work that happens before elevation. The kind of work that cannot be rushed because it is not about skill, it is about substance. You were being trained to carry weight without becoming bitter, authority without becoming arrogant, clarity without becoming cold. That kind of formation does not happen in comfort. It happens in seasons where you feel unseen, unheard, and unsure, seasons where you keep showing up without external reward. Seasons where your only motivation is the quiet knowledge that quitting would cost you more than continuing. And here is the revelation you need to hear now. The exhaustion you felt was not weakness leaving you, it was the old version of you dissolving. The confusion was not loss of direction, it was the collapse of paths that could no longer hold who you are becoming. The loneliness was not rejection, it was separation. Because certain levels cannot be entered with certain attachments. Certain doors only open when the room behind you empties. What you thought was breaking you was actually proving you. The unseen realm does not respond to noise, it responds to alignment. It does not react to declarations, it responds to consistency. It does not promote based on desire, it promotes based on demonstrated character under pressure. And you demonstrated it when it mattered most. That is why things are about to feel different. Not louder, not easier, different. There is a calm that comes after a threshold is crossed, a quiet steadiness that replaces striving, a clarity that does not shout but knows. You are entering a phase where understanding arrives without effort, where discernment feels natural instead of forced, where you no longer chase certainty because certainty begins to meet you. This is not because you suddenly became special. It is because you became stable, you became reliable. You became someone who can be trusted with influence without needing to announce it. From this point forward, you will notice that situations reveal themselves to you faster. People show you who they are without needing to be exposed. Decisions simplify. Not because life has fewer options, but because you can see through the noise to what actually matters. You will feel a peace that does not depend on outcomes, a groundedness that remains even when things shake, and others will sense it before you speak. Some will be drawn to it. Others will be unsettled by it. Both reactions are confirmation. Your presence will begin to carry weight, not because you demand attention, but because you no longer need it. This is what happens when inner alignment replaces outer striving. But hear this clearly, because this is where many falter. This shift is not a reward, it is a responsibility. What is being activated in you is not meant to elevate your ego, it is meant to expand your capacity. You are not being positioned above others, you are being positioned for others. The clarity you carry is meant to steady, not to judge. The peace you hold is meant to anchor, not to intimidate. The authority you embody is meant to protect, not to control. The only thing that can undo what has begun is forgetting why it began. Pride does not arrive loudly. It arrives as a whisper that tells you you are different in a way that separates instead of serves. The moment you use your growth to look down instead of reach back, you could disconnect from the source of what elevated you. Stay grounded in remembrance. Remember the nights you asked for strength. Remember the seasons you felt lost. Remember the grace you needed and received. Let that memory keep you human while you become powerful. Because this moment in history requires people who can stand steady while everything else wavers. Systems are shaking. Illusions are dissolving. Many are searching for something solid to stand on, and they will not be convinced by speeches or arguments or displays. They will be convinced by presence, by someone who has walked through pressure without losing their soul, by someone who has been refined instead of hardened, by someone whose life quietly proves that transformation is real. That is what you carry now. Not perfection but depth. Not answers but embodiment. Your role is not to save everyone or fix everything. Your role is to remain true, to move with integrity, to be a living signal that it is possible to pass through fire and come out clear. What unfolds next will not always make sense immediately. Some days will feel lighter, others may feel heavier. Do not measure progress by ease. Measure it by alignment. Measure it by how quickly you return to center, how honestly you respond, how consistently you choose what is right even when no one is watching. This is how what has been entrusted to you remains active, not through force but through faithfulness. You are not late, you are not behind, you are not overlooked, you are right on time, carrying exactly what you need for what comes next. The season of proving is ending, the season of living begins. Walk forward without announcement. Let your life speak. Let your presence teach. Let your steadiness be the evidence. What you endured was not meaningless. It was necessary. And what you are stepping into now is not imaginary. It is earned. Stay with me a little longer, because what comes next is not about what already happened. It is about how you move forward now that something fundamental has shifted inside you. After a threshold like this, life does not slow down to congratulate you. It continues, sometimes even intensifies, and that is where discernment becomes essential. You may notice that familiar patterns try to pull you back, old dynamics attempt to reassert themselves, people from previous seasons reappear with familiar energy, familiar demands, familiar expectations. This is not coincidence, it is calibration. Life is testing whether the change within you is temporary emotion or permanent integration. The way you respond now matters more than ever, not because you are fragile, but because you are influential. Influence does not begin when people listen to you. It begins when situations respond to you differently. You will feel it in subtle ways. Delays that once frustrated you no longer provoke panic. Criticism that once destabilized you no longer defines you. Silence that once felt empty now feels spacious. You are no longer rushing to fill gaps with noise, explanation, or validation. You are comfortable letting truth unfold in its own timing. That comfort is power, and power attracts both opportunity and resistance. Some doors will open effortlessly, almost suspiciously smooth. Others will close without apology. Do not chase either. Flow where alignment is present and release where it is not. You are not meant to force momentum anymore. You are meant to recognize it. There will be moments when you feel a quiet urgency rise within you, not anxiety, not fear, but a sense that time has become valuable in a new way. You will lose interest in distractions that once consumed you, not because they are wrong, but because they are irrelevant. Your inner compass has recalibrated. and anything that does not point toward meaning will feel heavy. Honor that feeling. It is not boredom, it is discernment. Your energy is no longer meant to be scattered. It is meant to be invested. You may also notice that your compassion deepens, but your tolerance for dysfunction decreases. This can feel confusing at first. You will care deeply, yet you will not stay where harm is normalized. You will understand pain, yet you will not excuse patterns that refuse to heal. This is not hardness, this is maturity. You are learning the difference between empathy and self-betrayal, between patience and stagnation, between love and rescue. That clarity will require you to disappoint some people. Not because you change toward cruelty, but because you change toward truth. And truth often disrupts arrangements built on convenience. Let it. You are not responsible for maintaining systems that drain your spirit. You are responsible for stewarding what has been entrusted to you. And stewardship requires boundaries, clear ones, quiet ones. Boundaries that do not argue or explain, they simply exist. As this becomes your way of being, you will notice your inner dialogue shift. The constant questioning, the over-analysis, the need to replay conversations and anticipate outcomes will soften. Not disappear completely, but lose authority. You will trust yourself more, not because you believe you are infallible, but because you know you will respond with integrity, even if you are uncertain. That trust changes everything. It frees you from paralysis. It allows movement without obsession, action without fear. You will begin to make decisions from alignment rather than desperation, from clarity rather than pressure. And when mistakes happen, because they will, you will correct them without collapsing into shame. Shame has no place where growth is honored. Correction is not condemnation, it is refinement in motion. Another change you may notice is how people confide in you. Strangers may open up unexpectedly. Acquaintances may share things they have never voiced before. This is not because you have all the answers. It is because your presence feels safe. Safety is rare, and those who carry it often do not realize its value until they see how desperately others need it. Listen more than you speak. Hold space without rushing to fix. Your steadiness will do more than advice ever could. At the same time, be aware that not everyone who approaches you intends to heal. Some will attempt to offload their chaos onto your calm. Discernment will tell you when to engage and when to step back. You are not a dumping ground for unresolved wounds. You are a witness to what healing can look like. Choose wisely where you invest your attention. Attention is currency now. Spend it where growth is mutual. There may be moments when you feel a strange grief, even as things improve. A quiet mourning for versions of yourself you have outgrown, for dreams that no longer fit, for relationships that cannot come with you. This grief is not regression, it is integration. Growth requires letting go, and letting go is still a loss, even when it is necessary. Allow yourself to feel it without romanticizing it. Honor what was without trying to return to it. You are not meant to live in nostalgia. You are meant to carry wisdom forward. As you continue, you will notice that your connection to what is greater than you feels less like an event and more like a constant, not dramatic, not performative, just present. Guidance will come quietly. Insight will arrive without strain. The line feels open because it is. You do not need to earn access anymore. You learned how to listen. That is enough. Do not rush to define what you are becoming. Labels limit what is still unfolding. Let your life reveal it in action. Let time collaborate with you. The next phase is not about proving yourself. It is about embodying what you already know to be true. Walk slowly enough to stay aware. Move confidently enough to stay honest. You will not always feel powerful. Power does not announce itself with sensation. Often it feels like calm resolve, like steady breath in chaos, like choosing the harder right over the easier wrong without needing applause. That is when you are most aligned. Remember, nothing meaningful needs to be forced. What belongs will respond. What does not will resist. Trust the response. You have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed, not because you are elevated above life, but because you are rooted within it. The world does not need you to be louder. It needs you to be truer. And as long as you remain true, what unfolds next will meet you where you stand.